If you're thinking about dropping 10 grand on a Luton van because you saw some influencer doing yoga in the back of one, then stop. They aren't telling you the bloody truth. Now this is a week's worth of diesel in my current panel van. It's taking the piss now. Imagine what it looks like when you're driving a vehicle with aerodynamic profile of a terraced house. I've been living full time in this van for 3 years now, and I'm finally about to make the massive jump and buy a Luton. Before I ever hand over the cash, we need to have a serious chat about the reality of what I'm getting myself into and what you're getting yourself into if you're planning the same. So you look at a Luton van and you think, brilliant, straight walls, loads of headroom, I can build a massive rustic cabin in there, and yeah, exactly my plan. But what you don't see is the perfectly lit Instagram feeds, is the reality of January in the UK. When you're bombing down the M1 in a Luton van with the crosswind, you're fighting against the steel mill the whole way, and the fuel gauge will drop faster than your bank balance after an MOT day. It's gonna absolutely knacker my diesel budget. I already know it. And stealth parking, forget about it, mate. You roll up to a quiet residential street in a massive box van with a glowing skylight. People think you either a dodgy removals company working at midnight, or you're nicking a catalyst converters. Plus, the sheer volume of the air inside the Luton means heating it is going to be a total nightmare if I'm not careful. I'll be burning through diesel heater fuel, going out of fashion, but trying to keep my hands warm enough to hold the PlayStation controller. But after freezing my absolute bollocks off for the first winter in this panel van, I've actually designed a proper foolproof way to insulate and heat my upcoming Luton build without needing a second mortgage for that fuel. I'll show you exactly how I'm going to do that in just 1 minute. Right, let's get into the nitty gritty of why bigger isn't always better and the actual truth of how you survive living in a box. The first massive lie about Luton builds is the insulation. Everyone thinks that the walls make it an absolute doddle to insulate. And sure, chucking a bit of Celotex on in between the battens is easy enough, but a Luton box is basically a giant fibreglass fridge. Now the corners, the floor, the massive shutter door and the back, if you keep it up, they are massive thermal bridges. Now my first winter in my van, the condensation was bad. It looked like it was raining on the inside. I was waking up wiping the walls down with a towel, and Rowan was looking at me just like she is now. I've completely lost the plot. So the fix for the Luton, you have to completely decouple the interior from the shell. A continuous vapor barrier isn't just recommended in a big box van, it's bloody survival. When I start this build, I am going to spend days taping every single seam, and you need to insulate the floor double what you think. So I'm going to be putting down 75mm of rigid Celotex board, and on top of that will be a thin plywood sheet. Now if you skip the floor insulation in a Luton because you want that extra inch of headroom, you are going to regret it every single morning when you step out of bed. Now let's talk about the electrics, because when you have all that space in a Luton, you think you can power the world. You plan a massive desk, you set up your gaming monitors on, and you think you're going to be gaming on the PlayStation all night long. Well, here's the reality of a 12-volt setup in the UK. Sun absolutely abandons us from October to March. You've got this massive roof on the Luton, perfect for massive solar panels, right? I'm planning to stick at least 400 to 600 watts of solar up on my new van, but it doesn't matter when the sky is the colour of a wet pavement for 5 months straight. In the dead of winter, you'll be getting maybe 20 watts of solar yield midday. To run my 5G router, the monitor, the PS5, I am going to be absolutely hammering my lithium batteries, and the inverter pulling that much juice is just widely insufficient. Right then, if you are going to build a big van and run that high draw gear like a gaming setup, you cannot rely on solar alone in this country. You need a hefty DC to DC charger for the Luton. Now I am completely skipping those cheap 30 amp chargers. I'm going to be fitting mine with a proper 50 amp Victron DC to DC chargers, 2 of them. That way, if I drive for an hour, I'm dumping a massive amount of charge back into the batteries directly from the alternator. It means I can actually play a game for a few hours in the evening without waking up at 3 AM to a sound of my inverter screaming its head off because the voltage has dropped too low to run the bloody fridge. Which Which brings me to a massive question for you lot. So drop a comment down below. What's the one van life mistake or dodgy DIY job that ended costing you an absolute fortune? Let me know. I read all of them, and believe me, we've all done it. Make me feel a little bit better about the couple £100 I wasted on them cheap AGM batteries back in the day before I learnt my lesson. Get in the comments and share your misery. The third thing about the Luton Truth is the layout weight. Because you have a big square box, it's really easy to build it heavy. You look at all that room and you want to chuck a massive domestic kitchen unit, heavy rustic log burners style setup with slate tiles and a full wet room and a massive 150 litre water tank. Next thing you know, you're driving onto that weighbridge and you're 400 kilos overweight. A standard Luton van payload is usually shockingly bad because of the fibreglass box, and the tail lift itself are so heavy before you even put a single piece of wood in there. You've got maybe 900 to about 1,000 kilos of payload to play with. You, your dog, and a full tank of diesel and a decent battery bank eats up a third of that straight away. Now I would love, absolutely love, a solid oak worktop, but I'm not doing it. I'm going to use lightweight ply composite for the new build. It breaks my heart because I love the rustic look, but it will keep me legal on the road and stop that suspension from giving out every pothole in bloody Yorkshire. And finally, the heating hack I promised you. Because a Luton space is huge, a standard 2 kilowatt diesel heater will run on full all night and barely take the edge off. Now you need a 5 kilowatt heater for a Luton, no arguments. But the secret isn't just the size of the heater, it's the ducting. Do not just have one vent blowing into the middle of the room. When I build this van, I'm gonna route in the ducting all the way around the perimeter of the floor with vents underneath the bed, near the back doors and underneath the gaming desk. That creates a curtain of warm air that stops the cold from radiating from the walls. It'll cut the diesel heater consumption in half because the thermostat actually registers a constant temperature instead of fighting them cold spots. So buying a new van and dealing with all this, the diesel costs, the lithium batteries, the insulation, it ain't cheap. I get asked all the time, how do you afford to keep that diesel tank full and play the PlayStation in the back of your van without grafting or building 60 hours a week on site? Now here's the honest truth. I fund this whole lifestyle through affiliate marketing. It completely changed the game for me, and it's what keeps rowing in premium dog treats. And what's going to fund my entire Luton build. It is a genuine way to break out of the system. So if you are sick of that daily grind, sick of the 9 to 5, and you want to see exactly how I make an income on the road, then I've put together a completely free video series explaining how it all works. I'll leave a link down in the description if you want to check it out. There's no pressure there, mate, just something that genuinely worked for me and got me out of that rat race completely. So what's the actual Luton truth? It's that massive space comes with massive compromises. The fuel economy is rubbish, keeping it warm is relentless battle against the British weather, and you stick out like a sore thumb everywhere you park. But if you plan it smart, keep the weight down and get your 12-volt electronics absolutely nailed so you can actually enjoy your life inside it, it is essentially a rolling studio flat. Now it's not for the faint-hearted, but I am absolutely buzzing to get my hands on one and start this build. So if you want the actual truth about full-time van life in the UK and you want to follow along as I finally buy and build this Luton from scratch, then hit that subscribe button. We're building a proper community of realists here, and my current gear is all linked in the description. Also, the Kofuel link is in there for Roman's Treats. That will be down there too. So just before you go, YouTube seems to think you would like this video right here next. See you on the next one, mate.